you just feel like you're going round in circles. One will only meet in Belgrade, one will only meet in Sarajevo, one will only meet in Ljubljana. You just go round and round in circles and you come to the same place. Once upon a time in Sarajevo, there was a group of young men. They were crazy, they were creative, they were even visionary. They were top lista, nadrealista, the surrealist hit parade. It was the early 1980s in communist Yugoslavia, and a group of high school friends in the multi-ethnic city of Sarajevo formed a rock band called Zabranjeno pušenje, no smoking. They started doing a weekly comedy spot on the radio, which later became a television program. It was a massive hit. The characters they portrayed were real people, often placed in surreal situations, and they used the language of the Sarajevo street. They called their art movement New Primitivism, and audiences across the country recognized the humour as distinctly Bosnian. Top Lista evolved over the years, but at the core was Zenit, Nele, and Đuro. War changed everything. In the early 90s, Yugoslavia disintegrated and Bosnia was shattered. Around 100,000 people were killed, many of them civilians, and more than 2 million fled their homes. The siege of Sarajevo by Serb forces lasted more than 3.5 years, the longest blockade of a capital city in modern history. People were terrorized by sniper fire from the surrounding hills. The war also split up the group. Nele left for Serbia, Đuro fled to Slovenia, while Zenit remained in Sarajevo, trying to keep Top Lista alive. Their different opinions about the war and critical statements Nele made about Sarajevo created divisions between them. I've come to Sarajevo to try to bring Zenit, Nele and Đuro together again. They've said they're willing to meet, but exactly where is the big question.
I watched them as a child, actually, during and just after the war. People still love them.
20 years after Top Lista broke up, their work is still hugely popular. Šta mislite iz Top Lista?
Ja mislim da su super.
Super, zašto?
Pa eto, vrlo su bliski narodu.
Ono ekstremist.
Ekstremist, zašto?
Pa smiješano, možda se smijati. Na bosanski.
Zašto bosanski? Šta bosanski?
Pa ono bosanska raja, razumiješ. Jo ne znam kako te objasnim.
Znao sve, kako su sve. Baš ono urapti. Čitavo djeli. Dobro večer. Danas je tačno 4 godine otkako se bivša i nazadna Socijalistička federativna republika Jugoslavija podijelila na istočnu i zapadnu Jugoslaviju.
One sketch that people in Bosnia still talk about is this one, where the group imagines a kind of Berlin Wall dividing Sarajevo. It's about a chance meeting between two garbage men who are throwing their rubbish over the wall at each other. They decide to go for a drink, but a fight breaks out because they can't agree on which bar to go to. When the sketch was broadcast in 1989, many viewers thought this was something that could never happen in their wildest dreams. But in fact, it predicted the deadly serious future. Eerily enough, the date they picked for their futuristic news broadcast turned out to be remarkably close to when the Dayton Agreement actually was signed, ending the war and dividing the country. I first arrived in Bosnia just over a year later to train local journalists at a school run by the BBC. Zenit applied to join my class. This well-known comedian was not an obvious candidate for a course in television journalism, but I let him in anyway, and he tried his hand at some serious news reports. My friend Boro Kontic ran the media centre in Sarajevo, where Zenit and I first met.
Some people told me when you saw you on Al Jazeera and all the times, our Jackie doing...
Our Jackie.
Yeah,
Nasha Jackie.
Yeah, doing something.
I was in Montenegro in 2004 and we spoke on the phone and you told me, you said, Jackie, you must come to Bosnia. Zenit is getting married tomorrow.
Yeah, actually, that was a real event. That was an event.
I should have got in the car and drove, but it's a very long way from Podgorica to Sarajevo.
Yeah. But now you're going to see...
We're going to see him today.
Yeah, I'm good.
We're going to see him today and catch up and see what's going on.
Boro discovered Top Lista back in the 1980s. He gave them their first break on the radio and became their mentor.
Vanjsko-politička tema. Sinoć su trojica iz Haretove raje, Rizo, Sio i Seo, ufatili petorcu iz Kemne raje na Vrbanji mostu. Ubili Boga o njima i sjetili im se familije.
The first program they made, that was very funny. They made a story about a group of young people who illegally came to the radio station and forced the people, employees inside, to change the music program. I saw in front of me, I mean, really magic.
There is this belief among many people that the Top Lista nadrealista predicted what happened to Sarajevo.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's the case?
They saw that vibrations better than other people, and that vibrations lived in our society, but people didn't recognize that. But you have so many people in Sarajevo who 2 days before the war, they started war was never happened.
People who remember the series, they love it, and oh yes, they'd love the idea of them getting together again, but would it work? Would it work these days?
If you are going to make that type of programs, you need the people who maybe not love each other, but like, and they like to be together. In a time when we are talking about them, they were very, very close. They were in the same boat, you know, without problems. Now, I mean, everybody needs their own space, their own cabin, never to meet each other in the same part.
Why do you think Nele is particularly against coming back to Sarajevo? What do you think his issues are?
I don't know. Maybe he is so many statesmen against Sarajevo and people in Sarajevo during the war, and maybe he broke all the bridges behind him.
I've never met Nele or Duro. I've only seen them in old VHS recordings of the show that Zenit played for me. Despite the language gap, Top Lista captured my imagination, and I think my best hope for bringing the three back together is Zenit.
I haven't seen Zenit now for 13 and a half years. A lot has changed since then. He's got married, he's got kids, he's a father now, new responsibilities. It'll be interesting to see how he's changed.
During my time in Sarajevo, Zenit and I became close. It was always about comedy with him. One weekend, we went to the Croatian coast and I took a swim in the sea. Looking up, I saw Zenit filming me, inspired by a scene from a cult Yugoslav movie, The Marathon Family, in which a naked man films a young woman. "Swim, swim, pretty swimmer," he called out, quoting a line from the film. I didn't get the reference at the time, but later I thought it was quite funny.
Well, I'm never so slightly apprehensive, isn't it funny? It's a long time ago.
Hi, Jackie.
Zenit!
How are you? I'm very good. I feel better than James Brown. You know,
Really?
that I feel good, you know, that song.
Your hair is shorter, but that is all.
Yeah. But my mind
Bigger.
longer, bigger. Oh, you look fantastic.
So do you.
Thanks you.
In recent years, Zenit has tried his hand again at Top Lista, making new comedy sketches with some of the old crew. There's little money in this, so he also makes public service announcements and TV commercials.
Jel to kafa gala? Gala? Normalna.
We head to a little bar where Top Lister would meet to plan their radio sketches.
We start producing the script here, and we prepare everything with a few glasses of beer.
J'y
Welcome.
Thank you. We met. Do you remember the first time we met?
Oh, of course. There was Komisija.
It was an interview. It was an interview panel.
It's interview panel, and you are one of the member of the interview panel, and ask me very tough questions like, who is the vice president of America?
I didn't ask you that.
Something like that.
Did I?
No, not
No.
you. Not you.
For Zenit, Top Lister nadrealista was much more than just a comedy show.
We all coming from the different background. The actually whole group is completely different. There is Serbs, Croats, Muslim, and Jewish, even some Hare Krishna or something like that.
Zenit and Nele's creative relationship symbolized that diversity. Zenit, a Bosnian Muslim, and Nele, a Bosnian Serb.
I think that the basic of our work is actually the relationship between me and Nele, and there was a great love between us. I really like that guy. He's very funny, and he's quite intelligent, and it's absolutely unique person.
And then you met up with him, I think, for the first time after the war. Was it in '97 when you went to Belgrade to do the zoo story? Was that when you saw him for the first time?
Yes.
Can you tell us about how that meeting went and how you felt when you saw him again?
I used to have connections and discussions with him very open, and we are always on the same side. But when I met him, I realized that actually he has some completely opposite opinion than me. It is a great disappointment because I lost my best friend, and actually I cannot recognize what he looks like and what he's thinking. It is very hard for me.
What were the ideas that he said that you couldn't accept?
The main reason why the war started. I'm not belonging to any perspectives, which I think that is my duty as a comedian, as an artist, to be independent. He's now openly on a Serb side, actually, to be open, which is unacceptable. I mean, I can accept that because it is not our way of working.
During the siege of Sarajevo, comedy helped Zenit and his friends stay sane. Despite the shelling and the sniper fire, they continued to record sketches. One of them was about the drive in Sarajevo for blood donations. This black humour would mark all their work during the war.
One man is walking down the street and taking canisters of the water, and in one moment he looks on the floor, cheese. It's a feta cheese which we get in humanitarian aid, you know. And then he tried to take this cheese, but the cheese is moving, you know, and he's going further for the cheese, and in one moment he jumps, then see two guys dressed like me, you know, and they are taking him to hospital and taking his blood, you know, because we need every drop of the blood. And when he is going out, he say,
Doktor, evo ja ću dati opet, samo molim vas, vratite me neka niste. Biće u redu, dakle.
You know, war is not romantic, as you can see on some films and things like that. It is terrible. That's probably the lowest level where the human being can be. There is no proud, there is no dignity.
One sketch even made a joke about braving sniper fire to collect water, turning it into a sports event.
Dakle, predlog za novi sport, trčanje sa kanisterima po sarajevskim raskrsnicama. Ovdje dole imamo, kao što vidite...
Humor exists because there is a need for some relaxation of a terrible situation. Humor helps us to survive.
Could you imagine any circumstances in which Top Lister and nadrealista could reunite and could come together again and work again together?
I'm definitely for the unification, and there is no obstacles on my side. Which questions bring to the nail? Actually, He wants to start work on a nadrealisti again, but he wants to film that in Belgrade. But I cannot film in Belgrade and not film in Sarajevo. That is absolutely out of mind. So if you want to come to Sarajevo and film something, I will be happy to go in Belgrade and film something.
I've heard a lot about Nele over the years, mostly from my Sarajevo friends. Now it's time to meet him for myself and hear his side of the story. So I'm heading to Serbia. Nele hasn't returned to Sarajevo since he left in 1992. I need to find a place where he may be willing to meet the others.
It's been a momentous year here in Belgrade. Who could have predicted 12 months ago the kind of events that we would see here outside the Yugoslav Federal Parliament building? Hundreds of thousands of people rising up against...
I lived in Belgrade for just over 2 years at the end of the 90s, working as a reporter for the BBC. It was a time of great change. There was the bombing of Yugoslavia by NATO and the ousting of Slobodan Milosevic. It was also the start of my career as a television reporter.
Jackie Rowland, BBC News, Belgrade.
Some of my closest friends are still here, and I'm interested to hear what they thought at the time about Top Lista and their predictions for the future of Yugoslavia.
It was basically too bad to be true, what they were predicting. Most of the people saw it that way, it never happens to us, it can happen to someone else.
Kad je počeo rat u Bosni i došao u Sarajevo, prvo niko nije verovao da će da počne rat u Bosni.
The people here lived in some kind of a lullaby.
Nele is in the middle of a book tour promoting his new memoir, Closing Time in Sarajevo. I catch up with him in the Serbian city of Novi Sad. His book is doing well, drawing large crowds.
Well, no sign of Nele yet. Oh, yes, there he is. Shall I go and say hello? Nele, Jackie, Jazeera. Great to meet you. Thanks.
U nadrealistima esencijalnu tu vezu jedan na jedan smo imali Zenit i ja. Mi smo bili od samog početka i do njenog kraja. Sarajli imaju taj običaj ovog direktnog kontakta. Kad neko opsuje i kad mater, to znači da se vole. Komšije bile najbolji prijatelji u vrijeme mira, a u vrijeme rata najveći krvni neprijatelji. Zato je komunikacija mora biti na tom nivou.
So you read the book?
Yes, I
What did you think of it?
It was extremely reminiscent to this 80s. New primitivism has a reputation of being the only authentic artistic movement in former Yugoslavia. Top Lista, nadrealista was extremely funny. I guess it was our version of Monty Python's.
Because I was born in Bosnia and I was also forced to come to Serbia when the war was happening there. I just wanted to listen to that kind of music and to watch everything that this man was doing.
What about the comedy? Why are they so funny?
In every joke there has to be one thing that is completely blown out of proportions. And in this country where I grew up and where he is from, everything is pretty much blown out of proportions.
Can you make it out to Jackie?
Yes,
please?
to Jackie. I have some connection with him. I had to. Nema na čemu. See you later.
When the book signing is over, Nele heads to a bar where a local band is performing. We've heard he may take the stage later. Nele built a successful career as a rock musician after leaving Sarajevo. He teamed up with the famous film director Emir Kusturica, and they travelled internationally with their band, the No Smoking Orchestra.
Možda neka se naši za mojeg novina. A volila ti i ja od ovo
Yugo nostalgia seems alive and well in Novi Sad.
Zenit, dobro jutro.
Oh, hello, how are you?
The trip is good. We saw Nele last night. It was quite nice because at one point he said that the key magic was with Zenit.
Oh, great. Yeah. So, did you have any discussion with him lately?
We haven't had more discussion with him because he was very busy signing books, but we're going to see him again today. We're thinking we might try to persuade him to come somewhere close to Sarajevo, like Yahorina or somewhere like that.
No, it doesn't matter if he cannot come to Sarajevo. We can meet everywhere.
I've come to a petrol station to meet Nele. I'm travelling with him to the next stop on his book tour, Zaječar, a remote town in eastern Serbia. I'm hoping to talk to him about meeting with Zenit and Đuro.
Deki Petro, I've just been enjoying some delicious Serbian cuisine.
In petrol station.
Yes, yeah.
I hate petrol stations.
Really?
Yes, I spent 2/3 of my life on petrol stations, airports, railway stations, etc., and I hate the tour.
So you want to get out
to go back home, but unfortunately I have to go to Zaječar. So,
right. So when you drive.
Welcome in my C4.
Thank you.
French car.
Thank you.
Not bad.
Very nice, yeah.
Zenit and me, we were the Excel of top lista, nadrealista. Of course, there were another guys, even more talented than we are, like Para, who left us in 1986 after car accident, and Đuro, who was the most talented of us and the funniest person. But both of them took top lista, nadrealista as a part of their life. But for me and for Zenit, top lista was our life, you know, and we sacrificed our lives to that project.
It's said that Bosnia is the land of storytellers, and with top lista nadrealista, life often imitated art.
If we need the joke for the political aspect or point of view, I am the one who will make it. If we need the joke of something crazy, surrealistic story about our countrymen or our people at the margin of our society, then it was brilliant.
Mi ćemo danas da oborimo rekord u Hrkljušu i da, kako zove, budemo najbolji u svijetu.
Minka! Čeljkovići! Koje ti sela bole vamo? Minkino selo, ja, Čeljkovići!
I remember I came in and he was laying in his bed. His room was full of smoke, and he gave me a piece of paper on which he wrote the screenplay. But the screenplay was just one sentence. The group of people are giving a ball to each other, talking the funny words. And in the moment when some of them say Hrkljuš, he is the winner, and the others are hitting their head as a losers, you know. And it's an amazing joke. It's a joke about mentality without any word of mentality, which is the best way how to paint something.
One of the sketches that I particularly remember and was very, very struck by was the sketch about where the family is getting divorced and they declare war. Is that sketch your idea?
Yes. Yeah, it's my specialty to divide Yugoslavia and Bosnia.
Moj muž je odlučio da se rastavi od mene radi potpuno suprotnih političkih pogleda. Ja sam rekla, možemo se razvesti, ali da se zna. Glavna kuhinja, sporedna kuhinja, velika soba, stao dječja soba i kupatilo, jer ja na to polažem Istorijsko pravo, znaš mangupe, istorijsko pravo.
No one did not give a damn for that joke. It was shocked for me. It was 6 or 7 months before the war. They are doing exactly the thing what we showed them in our joke, in our sketch.
Lažni posmatrači!
Upravo nam je sada sa teleksa stigla vijest.
When you spend a childhood with somebody, it's the biggest gift. And Zenit is a part of the most beautiful part of my life.
Andrić napisao da nijedan rat u Bosni nije dao odgovor, već je samo postavio nova pitanja, zato što odgovore niko ne traži, zato što je laž važnija od bilo koje istine. Nema više mojih slušalaca. Nije važno, naći ću ih kad tad. A šta ću raditi dok ih ne nađem? Slavit ću život.
He has that freedom in his lyrics, actually, that I'm searching for, as every young girl searching for. I watched his TV show on YouTube, and it's very funny, and what he said, it's sometimes sad when you realize what he's talking about. Our countries, our ex-Yugoslavia countries, need that show to continue.
What was it that prompted you to leave Sarajevo in 1992?
I have to go out because I did not agree with the rules that history made during the centuries in that town. That system, that nationality and religion has to be the thing that determinate everything.
I remember at an early stage when I met Zenit and Make in Sarajevo that they were talking a lot about a TV interview that you gave to Belgrade TV when you arrived, and they were asking you about all the Bosnian Serb refugees who came to Serbia. You made a joke, you said it's good every now and again to have a mixing of the bloods.
I just wanted to encourage 200,000 Serbs who left Sarajevo. That is the point, because a friend of mine, they do not talk to you that 200,000 Serbs left Sarajevo. They talk that I said something for a new blood in Belgrade. Yeah, it will be new blood in Belgrade. I was born in Sarajevo. So if I have to move from there, the only thing what those people who throw me out from my hometown, the only thing what they have to give me as opportunities to choose another city
but
to
hang
live.
on a moment, you didn't say you were thrown out. You said you chose to leave your own town because you didn't. You
No. I said I choose, of course.
So did you
because
choose, or were you thrown out?
I'm thrown out because I noticed that another 1,999 persons of same religion or whatever left the town on the same way as I did. If 200,000 Serbs decide to go back to Sarajevo, let's say 2nd of November 2021, I will be the first on the roll. I will be the leader. Because I think that Sarajevo is a town where Serbs has to live. But unfortunately, it is not possible. Sarajevo is just a fiction, is a utopian idea, and it was a great idea, but unfortunately we failed.
Zenit and you met again in 97, and I know because I sent him, it was a project for the school, and when he met you, he said he didn't recognize you. He said that you had changed and he had remained the same. What do you think?
No. He made a big mistake. He came at the moment when I was very angry about them. Not about him, about everybody in Sarajevo. They were motherfuckers. I told them a billion times that he'll be with war, and they choose the way
to the war. And he said, no, but it's not, we are friends, we are not friends. We have to double check who was right. And that is why Zenit and me, we had that misunderstanding. And I was very sad after that, because 2, 4, 5 years later, I noticed that the only problem was that he came to Belgrade too early, because I was hot of it.
We saw Zenit a few days ago, and he's very keen to meet up with you, and he wants to see you again. And
he knows my telephone number. Yeah, he knows where I am. What is the problem?
Well, are you willing to meet him, if we arrange
Yeah, of course, why not? Yeah, we have nice bars in Belgrade. We can see each other, and we can kiss each other, cry, whatever. You will shoot that. But maybe it will be lie. I believe in all the forgiveness between Zenit and me. Absolutely. But not in front of camera of Al Jazeera.
So why has there not already been reconciliation or forgiveness?
I don't know, maybe it will be. I did it in my book. I'm waiting for his call. We have two different interpretations of the war. I say that it is civil war, and I don't know, Zenit or whoever on another side thinks that it was aggression. It cannot be two truths. It can be only one. And I know that my interpretation is right, because the future will show them. They will see how deep I am right.
I've been giving a lot of thought to the time that I spent with Nele yesterday, still processing really the conversations we had. What shocked me, I suppose, most from that conversation was that in Nele's mind, he was right and everyone else was wrong. And it was just this inability, it seems, to accept the idea that he, or indeed the Serbian people, could bear any kind of responsibility for what happened, either in terms of his personal story or in terms of what happened to the country.
Zenit and me, we had only one big mistake, both of us, the place of birth. We are just the mistake of history. So why we need to pretend that everything is fine when it is not?
With my hopes fading of getting these one-time friends to meet, I go back to Sarajevo to talk to Zenit again in the hope of reaching a compromise.
Zenit.
What's this?
Come join me. I thought it was a kind of surreal place. There's something rather sort of surreal about this. Exactly.
How are you? Very
Good to
well.
see you. So look, we've been talking to Nele, trying to figure out if this meeting is going to be possible, and the only suggestion we have now is that they've apparently got this book. It's not his book, it's a book about Gavrilo Princip that's going to be launched in this monastery somewhere in the Serbian countryside. Any chance of us dragging you to the Serbian countryside with you?
In any other circumstances, it will be quite okay for me to go there, but at the moment there is, some political issues.
Real political, or are we talking about Nele Zenit politics? Is this the politics we're talking about? We are.
I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, we are part of some official politics. Even if I don't want to be part of that, I really don't want to be part of that.
We sat up with Nele till about 2:30 in the morning. We suggested to him Ljubljana, Budapest. We suggested to him the Montenegrin coast, because all of those would be fine for you, wouldn't
they? How about Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Thailand, something Japan, something exotic.
But like, if you came with us, and if we didn't even tell him that we were coming, we could kind of spring a surprise on him. It could be
Are you trying to persuade me? Or?
I am trying to persuade you, Zenit. Am I that transparent?
So I'm the weakest.
You're the weakest link.
Come on, come on. I'm not a bad guy in this story, actually. I'm not the one who don't want to go somewhere, you know. I already been in Belgrade, and I met him in Belgrade.
I know, and I asked him about that, yeah.
So it's not my turn, definitely.
Yeah.
My last hope of getting everyone together is Đuro. He still lives in Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, where he fled to during the war. Of all the original members of Top Lista, he's been the most successful. He starred in an Oscar-winning movie, No Man's Land, about the Bosnian War.
Hi.
Oh, a surreal entry. I wouldn't have expected anything less.
Branko.
Jackie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. The pleasure is mine. How are you?
I'm good. All the better for seeing you and this interesting contraption. Can I have a go? Whoa. Ah! It's a bit...
I go usually with my wife like this.
How do we do this?
Step,
I go in
step
front.
one, front.
It was nice knowing you.
More. Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yes, we're on.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, how are you?
Very nice to meet you. What a pleasant day it is. Do come here often. We must stop meeting like this.
Why?
So tell me, Đuro, how did you get involved in Top Lista, nadrealista?
Oof. I was stagehand. We were amateurs. We were young and furious, and we lived really, how can I say, fast lives. It was kind of magic. It was kind of chemistry in those times, because we were really a group of young people who stick together and go everywhere. We just tried to make something what we like to do, you know. It was so naive and so spontaneous, you know.
When was it exactly that you left Sarajevo?
I left Sarajevo in August 22. I was there almost 6 months of the war.
So what was it that prompted you to leave?
It's always the most heavy question for me always. You know, I'm from mixed breed. My mother, she's a Muslim. My father, he was Serb. I was in the middle of something, you know, and I never divide people like Serbs and Muslims. My grandfather, he died 2 months after the war started, but he gave me the most difficult question when we were in the siege, Sarajevo. He asked me, who are those guys who bomb us? I said, I don't know, it's kind of bad guys. And he said, but I heard that there are Serbs, because he was Serb. I said, yeah, kind of. And he asked me that most difficult question, who are ours?
Mm.
And I said, I don't know, in this war, maybe we don't have ours. We are all ours and nobody ours. So that was one of the reasons that I decided to move somewhere. And maybe that's why you find me here in Ljubljana. I'm not in Belgrade, I'm not in Zagreb, I'm here in Ljubljana. I'm if you know the movie No Man's Land, so I'm kind of no lands man.
There's that great scene, isn't there, where he points the gun and say, you know, you started it, no, you started it, this whole argument.
Da rasturate ovu lijepu zemlju. Jel bilo mjesta za sve? Jel bilo mjesta za sve?
Mi rasturili.
Vi rasturili.
Pa ti nisi normalan. Pa nismo mi htjeli da se odvajamo, nego vi.
Pa normalno da smo htjeli da se odvajamo kad ste vi počeli rat.
Pa vi ste počeli rat, vi ste htjeli da se odvaja. Vi ste počeli rat.
Ko je počeo rat? Ko je počeo rat?
Mi smo počeli rat.
Vi ste počeli rat.
Because that seems to be something that still people won't agree on. I mean, In your view, how did the war start? Was it a civil war? Was it an external aggression?
Don't ask me about that because you won't have answer for me about it because I don't know. Maybe you can ask Nele. He's always better in that kind of stuff. And
so for you, the question...
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Actually, it doesn't matter.
Nele had an idea about working together again, didn't he? He came with a proposal to visit you in Ljubljana. Can you tell us about what his proposal was?
We were talking about maybe let's do something again with top lista, nadrealista, and I said maybe we can do a movie now. But Nele said we have to do that stuff in Belgrade. Zenit said we should do it in Sarajevo, and I said we should do it in Belgrade, in Sarajevo, or Ljubljana, or Paris, or Skopje, or everywhere. That was my statement, and it is still my statement. Maybe that's the main difference between us.
So you would be willing to meet up with Nele again and discuss possibly?
Not really. No, not really.
Why not?
How do you said? When you warm a cold dish again, you know, why to warm cold dish if you can do new one?
Do you feel that it's not relevant to your life anymore? You've moved on?
I really don't think about that kind. You know, I understand you are doing a story about top lista and nadrealista, but this is one of 1,000 projects I have in my life, and we are not quite friends. I can say we didn't see each other for 20 years, so everybody has his own life.
Da vidimo. Ko je? Voda, komšija. Dobar dan. Izvucite jednu od ove dvije koverte.
Šta nije voda?
Samo vi izvucite jednu dvije koverte.
Igra neka nagrada.
Samo izvucite, molim vas. Javite se odmah u rezervni sastav milicije, ponijeti odgovarajuću opremu i požurite, ja vas čekam ovdje na vratima.
Dobro.
Hajmo.
Mama, donesi mi ono moje.
Samo požurite, malo.
Pričuvajte mi ovo. Ja ne mogu.
Što?
U vojsku, ni u rezervu.
Hoćete u JNA možda,
ne.
Nego?
Ja sam ozlijeđen.
Stante!
Vidite da sam
ne može,
ozlijeđen.
to je samo ozlijeđen. Ne može ovo, a?
Ne mogu, vidite da sam ozlijeđen.
Kako? Stante, molim vas. Stante, dobro.
I guess I'm facing up to the fact that I was overly optimistic, maybe even a little naive in thinking that it would be possible for these three guys to come together. The fact that they won't even come together to talk about old times, to talk about art or humour, or even about possible future collaborations is very disappointing.
Sarajevo is at peace now, but the ethnic divisions that led to the war are still alive. The whole system of government in Bosnia is organised along ethnic lines. What was once a single language has now been transformed into three separate ones. The leaders can't even agree on how the National Museum should present history. The country is paralysed, and it's hard for people to see a way forward. We've asked Zenit to make a new version of the famous wall sketch to reflect how he sees the situation in Sarajevo today. He's recruited two of his old top lister friends who still live in the city. Their meeting at Tito's cafe was to be included in the sketch.
Mislim da bi kraj tog skeča, hvala, baš trebao da se odigrava u sadašnjosti.
To je dobra ideja, stvarno. Svi očekuju da predvidimo budućnost, a da predviđamo sadašnjost.
Odlično. To je super.
I sigurno ćemo pogoditi.
And the shopping trip to buy props was also part of the comic performance. They even recruited an Al Jazeera cameraman to film them.
We need to be dirty. I mean, dirty. Not dirty in a dirty way.
Može. Kamera. Ton, sound. Okay. Action. Ja te volim, da voliš ti, na pitanje ovo odgovori mi. Ja te... Oh, Jesse, havo, snima. We are meeting again after 25 years. And he's asking me, oh, what's up, what's new? I said, nothing new, everything old, you know, in this garbage bag, you know. Ima jedna majica, ne znam, možda će se svidjeti, malo smrdi.
Neć majicu, znaš šta, imaš ti slučajno skoro od naranđe, mali mi je nešto ufatio neku prehlas.
Ja, bila je neki dan kora od naranđe, ali znaš šta se fulio je? Juče, vakal, veliki, malo natruho, mogo bi se pojesti ono, ananas.
Ananas?
Yeah. In our language, that word ananas means something different. Ananas, what do you think about us?
Play on
something.
words.
Yeah. And then he said, ananas, you know, about us nobody cares, there is no money, only when the izbori, elections and...
Ananas misle samo kad treba glasati, kad treba nešto platiti, jer...
I kod nas je tako isto, hajde ba.
Slušaj, hajde ba dođite s djecom, da se družimo, ti, tvoja žena.
Hajde, fakat možemo ovdje, nisu ovaj zid džaba napravili da loptu prebacuju. Valjal ta ovaj. Opet me druku. Hajmo je. Ja te volim, da me voliš ti.
When I set out on this journey, I wanted to find out whether the personal stories of Zenit, Nele and Duro reflected what had happened to their country. And I think those stories do, to a large extent, mirror recent history. The question is whether Bosnians can in the future discover once again that what they share, including their sense of humour, is more important than what divides them.
Finito!
Sve se danas super osjećaj.